If you crave dessert or you have a sweet tooth, but you're looking for some healthier vegan options, watch this whole video and I'm gonna share 3 of my favorite healthy, clean desserts. Hey guys, it's Dr. Mona, and in today's video, I am going to be sharing some really easy, simple, but amazing dessert recipes. So I'm not a great cook. These are all things that anyone can do. If I can do them, you can do them. Some of these can be used as snacks, as breakfast. The reason I'm calling it dessert is because they all have a little bit of like chocolatey sweetness to them. And on top of them being super light and low in sugar, they also have some amazing health benefits. And each of them, I'm gonna be adding some really amazing healing mushrooms. I'm using Four Sigmatic for each recipe, so each one kind of calls for a different one. I love Four Sigmatic because they kind of incorporate healthy mushrooms that are super healing, amazing for all different benefits, but you can't taste them at all. They're just, extracted, and whether it's a little bit of coffee or cacao, you don't really notice you're having them. So I found like really creative little ways to incorporate them into each dessert. So we'll get into that throughout this video. If you want to try Four Sigmatic, I have a link below and you can get 15% off your first order and you can try making these recipes yourself. So the first one I want to start with is this nice cream. If you guys are vegan, or maybe not even vegan, you've probably heard of nice cream. It's basically just, nice conscious ice cream because we're not using dairy. It's super healthy and it's so easy to make at home. Really, the base of the ingredient is just frozen banana, and you have to add a little bit of plant-based milk. You can do coconut almond milk, but in this one, we're giving it a little twist, and I'm using some Four Sigmatic, the mushroom cacao mix. So normally when I make nice cream, I do exactly that. I do banana, almond milk, and cacao. But I thought this would be cool because this already has cacao in it, but it also has reishi mushroom, and reishi is amazing for giving you like a really calm, like relaxed feeling. It's great for promoting restful sleep. So if you have insomnia or you feel like you're having trouble sleeping at all, this would be a really great one to incorporate. It's also amazing to have at night because, banana is a healthy sugar, low glycemic. So you're kind of having like a chocolatey dessert that's not processed, really good for you and promotes restful sleep. So this is a great one to have after dinner. I'm just gonna grab my frozen bananas out of the freezer and we will make this together. So I like to keep bananas frozen in the freezer. It's just really easy, and bananas can go bad really quickly. So as soon as you think they're about to go a little brown or you want to save them, always peel them first, stick them in the freezer, and then it's just so easy to add into smoothies. I'm gonna add probably like 4 chunks. It'll be like a little over 1 banana, but this completely just depends on how much you want to make. Let's see. Actually, I'm gonna add 5 just so we can make a little bit more. This is maybe 1.5 to 1 1/4 bananas. So I'm just gonna add both packets in. Coconut milk. So I'm gonna add a very little bit to start because I do like when my ice cream is a little bit thicker. Truly, if you added a lot, you could make this into a smoothie. If you add a little to none, you could make it into a thick ice cream. Obviously, when you add a little, it makes it a little more difficult to blend, so it takes a little bit more effort, but then it'll come out nice and thick. So I'm definitely gonna be using this to kind of like help mash up the banana in the process. And I'm gonna just start on low and then blend. Actually, sometimes it's just better than others. I don't even need to use this today. It kind of just perfectly blended. Let me get a bowl and we can try some. Okay. Can you just see how easy this is? And you literally have like antioxidant, healing mushroom, chocolate, banana ice cream. Oh my God, this smells so good, you guys. I wish you could smell it. I feel like maybe in the future there will be a way to like infuse taste and smell through the camera. So this is the consistency. It smells amazing. It's so good. It literally tastes like chocolate banana ice cream. And especially like for kids, I always like throwing this in for kids, even though I don't have kids, but I feel like a lot of times moms will ask me like how to get their kids to eat healthier. You just sneak in little things like this, they won't even notice. Like if you gave this to a 3-year-old, they would think it's ice cream. Like there's no difference. This one is very chocolatey, so if you want it a little bit less chocolatey, I'd recommend doing maybe 2 bananas and a little more almond milk, and then you make sure you don't get any like little bit of graininess. I like it really chocolatey, but definitely taste it. If that happens and you feel like it's a little too grainy, literally just add a little more almond milk, a little more banana, and it's super easy. So let's go to the next recipe. I'm gonna move this over because I don't have these recipes memorized. I'm just gonna read it off for you. But the next one is no-bake little snack balls. They're like quinoa balls. I don't even really know what to call them. These have been one of my favorite recipes for a while. I've actually done these on an Instagram live before. They're so easy. You don't have to, the only thing you have to technically cook a little bit is toast the quinoa. So I have it all measured out here. I'm literally just gonna put it on a pan with absolutely no oil and just put it on low heat. And as soon as you kind of hear it like crackling and getting a little bit golden, then it's ready to go. So let's quickly just go over the ingredients that I have. We've got quinoa, unsweetened coconut shreds, plain oats, almond butter, honey, Four Sigmatic, and Lily's vegan dark chocolate chips. These are my favorite chocolate chips because they're sweetened with stevia. And for this one, we're using the Four Sigmatic adaptogen blend. So I talk about adaptogens all the time. I'm obsessed with them. I think they're just one of the most amazing things we can eat. Basically, they're known as like the stress balancing like food. They help your body just stay balanced, regulate your stress response. So whatever you could be stressed about, it could be emotional, physical. When your body undergoes that stress, like it's not good for you. So it basically just helps kind of bring you back to normal. A lot of people that have hormonal acne will go on adaptogens and it's really helpful. If you're feeling a lot of stress, it can actually help with thyroid. I always recommend telling your doctor before you take adaptogens because they can actually be really powerful. So you want to make sure that you're not, you know, altering levels when you're already on other hormone therapy. But this can be a really great one because these can be little like anti-stress balls. You can just have them as snacks. I even make them sometimes and put them in the freezer and then we'll just thaw them out when I want to go. I even went on like a trip once and I didn't know what the food was going to be, so I had like 2 huge bags of them and it was like my breakfast every morning, so it worked out perfectly. So the first thing I'm going to do is just toast this on the stove, and while it's toasting, I'm going to make everything else. Okay, that's toasting. I have it on like medium heat and I'm gonna add the rest of the ingredients. I'm just gonna read to you the measurements so you guys have them. It's 2 cups of instant oats, a half a cup of unsweetened coconut shreds, 1/3 cup of honey, 3/4 cup of toasted quinoa, 3/4 cup almond butter, and a half a cup of chocolate chips. And the base, like the main ingredient of these is the oats and the quinoa. So if you don't want to do chocolate chips, or if you don't really like the flavor of coconut, you definitely don't have to add those. The almond butter definitely like holds it together, so I recommend that. Actually, my friend shared this recipe with me a long time ago and it called for peanut butter. I swapped it out for almond butter because it's so much healthier and I love the taste of almond butter in it. So that was my little change. And then I'm gonna add 2 teaspoons of this adaptogen blend. And it also depends on like how many servings of this you wanna make, how many people you're making it for. I like sticking to 2 because I feel like it doesn't take away from the recipe and the consistency of the recipe. So even though like 1 teaspoon is your technical serving, you could also add that in somewhere else. This is just kind of infusing a little bit of that adaptogen benefit into here. Also, we can't forget about the mushroom benefits in here. That's like the highlight of these little packets. But it has reishi, which can be really relaxing, like we mentioned before, and it has cordyceps, which is great for energy and endurance. So between the almond butter and like the cordyceps, these can be good for energy and stress. It's a little bit sticky. And then the honey. I would recommend using a very high quality honey. If you're gonna do this, you could also replace this with coconut nectar, but honey does give it a really good taste, so whatever you prefer. I'm just gonna mix it up. One other thing to add about the adaptogen blend is that it has turmeric and black pepper, which I love because turmeric needs black pepper to make it more bioavailable. So I like that it's already pre-added in there for you. And I don't love the taste of turmeric, but I do love the health benefits. So adding it in where I'm not gonna notice the flavor is a plus for me. Okay, so I've pretty much mixed all this. I'm gonna get the quinoa now. I'll show you what it looks like. So you can see it's just like a little more like golden in color, just basically darkens, and you can also hear it like crackling, kind of sounds like a fire crackling, and that will toast it. It's a little bit hot, so don't stick your hands right in there to mix it when it goes in. And then just add it in. Also guys, when you're making this, if for some reason, when you try to like form it into the little balls, if it's like crumbling or falling apart, you can add like a touch more honey or a touch more almond butter or something to make it stick a little more. Sometimes if it's like creamy almond butter or crunchy, like different consistencies, or you know, when you get to the bottom of the jar and all the oils have been used up, that, you know, might not be the best one to use. Okay, so now we've got this all mixed up, and the last thing to do is add the chocolate chips. I like to do about a half a cup of chocolate chips. This is totally optional. Optional but necessary. And these obviously don't have to be like mashed in, just kind of evenly distribute. Some people like to take these too, and you can roll up the ball and then dip it into the coconut, so the coconut's kind of coating the outside. I just kind of throw it all in. Also, make sure you get the smaller coconut shreds. Sometimes when they're in bigger chunks, they won't like mix in as well. So the smaller ones are better. Okay, so let me just show you the consistency. This is a lot, it's a huge batch. This is what it looks like. They look a little bit crumbly, but once you stick your hands in and form them into a ball, they'll stick. You could put this onto like a big baking sheet, into some Tupperware. Basically, they just all have to lay flat, and then you're gonna put it in the fridge, and once they harden, they're ready to go. If you are in a big rush and you want them to be ready, you could stick them in the freezer. One easier way to do this too is to get like an ice cream scooper, and it will give you like the perfect amount. But obviously there's no real science to this. I just kind of put it into a ball like this. Make sure it forms, and stick it on there. These are really, really yummy snacks. I think you're really gonna like these. Anytime I've made them for anyone, they absolutely love them. There, so here's 3. See how they're formed, and then again, once you put them in the fridge or freezer, they will get even harder, and that's it. Super easy, no stress / energy balls. Okay, now let's get to the last one. We're gonna make some pancakes. I'm just gonna clean this up a little bit, and I'll show you the recipe there. Okay, so we're all cleaned up, and the last recipe we are making is pancakes. Number one, because I am the biggest pancake fanatic. I love pancakes. I'm really known to eat them like for whatever meal, but they can be so healthy. Like there's so many amazing ways. You definitely like do not have to use a traditional pancake batter. One thing to note too is that even if you're doing a pancake recipe like the one we're doing and it uses like a lot of oats or something, even if the carbs are high, it's still so much better to use these healthy forms of carbs because they don't spike your blood sugar as much. They've got more protein and more fiber. So you can't always look at just numbers and nutrition facts. This is one thing I always try to point out to you guys. Even if this had more carbs than traditional pancakes, I would still recommend the oats and like the millet or whatever you're using versus like, you know, just like white flour. So for this one, we're doing pancakes, chocolate chips optional. I kind of love putting a few chocolate chips there, you don't have to. And then we're gonna use the mushroom mocha mix. So this one actually has a little bit of coffee, but it's mocha flavored. I love the taste of coffee, and adding it in here also, I mean, it's less caffeine than regular coffee, number one, and we're adding like 2 packets for the entire thing. So you're not gonna get very much caffeine from it, but it does have some in there just to note. Could be little energy pancakes. And then the mushroom in this one is chaga. Chaga is really known to help boost immunity and keep you really healthy. So this could be really cozy in the winter months, or, you know, anytime. It's always good to keep your immunity up. And so like I said, not only are they healthy in ingredients, but we're also adding a little boost of chaga. So I'm gonna read you the recipe for this one. I've basically created the batter. The last thing I have to add is the mushroom mocha. So we've got 1 cup of almond flour, which is basically just almonds like ground up. You could actually make your own almond flour if you just put it in a blender. 1 cup of almond flour, 3 tablespoons of coconut flour, 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda, a pinch of salt, 2 packets of the Four Sigmatic mocha coffee, a half a cup of coconut milk, 2 vegan eggs, and 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla extract. So the vegan eggs, you can either use a chia seed or flaxseed. My favorite is to use chia seed. The reason we call this a vegan egg is because it's an egg replacement. It's basically 1 to 3 parts. So 1 tablespoon chia seed, 3 tablespoons water. That is what I use for one like vegan egg. If you do 2 of these, which is what we did 2 tablespoons chia seeds and 6 tablespoons of water. Let it sit for 5 to 10 minutes. It will start to form like a jelly consistency, and that will be like your binder. So everything's in here. Just gonna add these packets. This is pancake batter, so if you ever made pancakes at home, you know, sometimes you want them a little thicker, a little thinner. You can kind of like play around with the amount of almond milk or coconut milk you use. I put the pan on like low heat, and I'm gonna put a little bit of coconut oil, but first I'm gonna mix this. Okay, so everything's mixed in. There's two things with these two. The batter on its own is sweet, but it's not overly sweet. Like the mocha coffee does add a little bit of flavor. If you want them a little sweeter, I would recommend adding a little bit of stevia or monk fruit. These are two sweeteners I really love that have 0 sugar. They don't spike your insulin. So I like that. If you love maple syrup on pancakes and you want to add some, you could either leave them as they are and just use a little maple syrup to sweeten them, or you could even add a little bit in here. I'm gonna add just like a very little bit of stevia. A little bit of stevia goes a very long way, so I'd recommend going slow on this. And then lastly, with the chocolate chips, I always like to make a few in the batter, so I'll do some, and then maybe for 1 or 2, I'll add a few like while they're on the pan. That way, if everyone wants them or everyone else doesn't. And on this pan, it's just warming up. I'm gonna put it on low-medium heat, and I'm gonna use a little bit of coconut oil. Just spread it around. So while that pan is heating up, I just want to add in one thing about dessert. I strongly believe that if you deprive yourself of food, you are going to all of a sudden go crazy and want to eat a bunch of like dessert, and you can't, it's just not sustainable long term. So one thing people ask me a lot is like how I'm so disciplined or how I live my life like so healthy, I'm always on this diet. Like it's not because of reasons exactly like this. Like I find little ways to have everything I want, you know, in moderation, just like a little bite here and there. And if I incorporate it every day, then I'm not like craving my one cheat meal a month or a week or whatever. I just kind of find easy, healthy alternatives to things. So I'm hoping that my videos are giving you guys suggestions like that so you can just, you know, incorporate it daily. Okay, I'm gonna go cook these in the pan. I'll be right back and I'll show you the finished product. So here's the finished product. I made one with chocolate chips and one without, just so you could kind of see the difference. Where did I put my fork? Oh, over here. Hold on. So this is what it looks like. The brown color is obviously from like the mocha and coffee. They're a little bit hot, but I want to take a bite so we can try the finished product. I love the taste of coffee. So I kind of like the mocha flavor in there. You could also replace this with a different Four Sigmatic if you don't like the taste of coffee or you don't want coffee in it, but this is kind of my favorite way to make it, so I wanted to share this recipe. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video on healthy dessert. You know, all of them are really light and healthy and low in sugar, but the hero ingredient was really each of the Four Sigmatic packs that I incorporated into all of them. I will put a link below to all of them, and also make sure to check out my link for 15% off your first order if you do want to try it. If you have any questions on these, any questions on the recipes, I'll put them below. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.